I hear you're the woman to see about a job.
Audrey Withers. Yes, I am.
I've seen your photographic work. You're really very impressive. You dislike anyone who questions you, especially when you know you're wrong. And you have secrets, many, that you'll never share.
I'm never wrong.
That's our Lee.
Lee, which is in cinemas now, follows the story of Lee Miller, the American photographer and journalist during World War II, and follows the story of her becoming a war journalist for Vogue during the World War II, becoming from a model all the way to a photographer. And it's played by Kate Winslet in a very strong performance and a very enjoyable World War II film. Basil, first impressions, you walked into this, and did you know what you were sitting into?
So yeah, I've seen Lee's pictures before, but I haven't heard of the name Lee Miller. So when the film showed the pictures, I was like, oh yeah, I recognise those. You know, some of these really gruesome ones of the Holocaust. That's the ones I'm referring to. But no, to answer your question, I kind of went into this with a blank canvas, you know, and I did enjoy it. You know, it was essentially it was just the story of her life, you know, wasn't it? Before, you know, America and the UK got involved in the war, and the kind of middle class, lavish lifestyle that she lived, and her kind of stern personality. You know, it was a bit what would you call it? It was a bit robust, wasn't it? And we get to see the love story of her and Roland in the film, which she marries, and then they go to live in London. This is all before the war effort. And Lee feels like she needs to have more involvement. You know, she needs to be on the front line, and you get to see an interesting perspective of the war as from a woman's point of view as well, and from a woman who wants to really get stuck in, because she can't just sit at home while she hears about her, you know, her second family, her French friends, that, you know, the atrocities, what's happening to them. But what about yourself, Alex? Did you know about Lee's history before watching this film?
Yeah, I mean, I knew that all these photos that we see online from the Holocaust, the very first almost like archive photos, are made by an American photographer. And when I saw the trailer, I said, okay, that's her, because her photos and the other David Sherman, that is the other photographer that she joins her in during World War II, to go literally on the front line and into the Holocaust, into the camps in Germany, in Austria. And then they're all, you know, I knew about her, but this story of her being a model before, and the struggles that she had, because she was pigeon boxed, let's call it. You're a beautiful model. Yes, she's aged a little bit, so she wasn't like in her prime when she started doing this, but her ambition to just get out there into the front line maybe was a bit naive to start with, because she was just thinking, wasn't it, Baz? She was just thinking that she's just going to take some photos of the war. But then she gets there and she gets to see the real face of the war. Yeah. And that's when the actual true work begins.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think this is kind of a glossy opinion. You know, I think we've seen it in what was this film we reviewed? Is it called On the Front Line? You know, and it showcased, I think it was World War One, and the young Germans who were going off into battle, and then we're talking 17-year-olds, and there's this glossy kind of perception of war when you're a civilian that you think you're going to get there, like probably Lee did, and she thought, oh, it's just going to be just documenting it. But actually, when you are there with the troops on the front line and bullets are flying past you, it's this absolute ugliness of humanity, you know, and so it's a bit of a slap in the face.
another thing that is interesting is the fact that overseas, she's an American journalist in the war in Europe, but overseas in the States, people have no idea what's going on just because technology wasn't there at the time to travel this fast. And then you had the editors and everybody that will slow down the publishing because they didn't want to, upset the public or make the public panic. And she has to go through all those struggles, which is interesting to see too. But what did you thought about how much we've seen the film actually portrays of the horrors of the Holocaust?
I think it was done. It did what it needed to do. But if you look at Holocaust movies throughout history, and me and you have seen our fair share, some Oscar worthy, some not. This one was a bit more PG, in terms of it's a bit more of a soft approach to visuals and sound when it came to actually showcasing the horror. Now, I'm not complaining as such, they just kind of did it in a smart way, so occasionally you'd see some feet coming out of a train or something, or you'd see people being sick because of what they've seen or what they could smell, and then they did actually show the pictures, but it was almost like, for a few seconds, or it was kind of like off shot of it, and now, so it didn't really have that deepening, shocking effect that, shall we say, like, I don't know, Schindler's List, for instance, would have
Schindler's
on you.
List,
or,
that's exactly what it reminded me of.
Yes, Zone of Interest is something that's probably not really comparable, but even as how it made you feel at the end of the film, Zone of Interest had a deeper, resonance with the human condition than shall we say this film. But I don't really think that's what Lee was trying to achieve. I don't think it was like shocking or too saddening. It was almost kind of about her and her persona. Wouldn't you agree, Alex?
Agreed. Yeah, that brings us nicely to the acting. I mean, wow! Just imagine a real person that is faced with this type of what you're seeing is a true shock to your mental state. Is a ground shaking readjustment that you have to make mentally to be able to accept that this is in front of your eyes. That's how shocking those images are. And I can't even imagine in real life how it was, because it's just out of this world what they've had to go through when you were seeing and experiencing those scenes. And Kate Winslet, Jesus, just every single film, she just gets better and better. Yeah. She doesn't have to act much. She just, her face at the end when she does the interview and when she gets back into London, and it's just insanely accurate. You can just read that shocking experience she just had, traumatizing, on her face. That's how good she is. Yeah. I just kept enjoying it. If it's one reason you want to watch this film, is exactly that.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Yeah. The performance from Winslet was just professional, really. As you say, it's almost like seamless now, and I think that's a good casting as well, because as we said, this film's about Lee's life, and what a role for Kate to play. And also Alexander Skarsgård was, he played his part in Lee's husband, Roland. And it's good to see Andy Samberg, I think his name is, from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Yes. Every time I see him, I think I can't take this guy seriously because I've watched Brooklyn Nine-Nine so much. But actually, he played quite a pivotal role in that, being her second photographer almost, wasn't he? Two Americans abroad with each other that have to look out for each other. And I thought that was quite wholesome.
Marion Cotillard is in it too, from
Solange,
many films, Inception and one of them.
Yeah.
She's very good. She steals the show a little bit in the second time we see her, without spoiling anything. But just those actors in one place, they're just fantastic, all of them. And the story is really good. It's very interesting. These journalists, I like to call them journalists more than photographers, because they were actually witnessing history right there and then. They was the first to put a pin and write it down via images for the very first time and be able to show it to the rest of the world. Because their photos weren't published in Vogue in the UK. No. They were published in the States to first start with, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. And, I think, like you say, this probably can be in recorded history, probably the first time you actually have a journalist / photographers. Because I'm sure there was photographers in World War One, but they wouldn't have been at Lee's capability and professionalism. And I think you likened this film to Civil War almost, but just circa 1940 rather than 2025. Correct. And I think that's quite a clever comparison, actually. Almost, really, it was not as not as in your face Alex Garland action packed, but it had its similarities with them both being photographers. I have to say, I think you know what they used in Civil War, where she would take a picture and you'd see that picture straight away. I thought it would be quite good used in Lee, actually, considering that
Yes.
these pictures actually exist. But maybe that was just a little insight that I had. But yeah, thank you very much for watching our review on Lee. Please like and subscribe, and always. And if you'd want to watch a similar movie about the Holocaust, watch Zone of Interest here, that me and Alex have also reviewed. Thank you and take care.